In this video, I'm going to show you how you could put an image inside of a text in Photoshop. To get started, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to choose 1920 by 1080 as the size. I'm just going to change the resolution here to be a bit higher. I'm going to change it just to 300, and I'm going to title my project here. RGB color, 8-bit is fine. Transparent background's okay. I'm gonna press create. This is the same resolution as HD video, so if I need to use this in a video file, I can. Now the first step is I wanna create my text layer. So I'm gonna create a new layer down here. I'm just gonna press create a new layer icon here. And for this layer, I'm gonna put my text right in the middle of it. I'm gonna press T, that selects the text tool over here. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna type in my text for this. And I'm gonna press OK. Now my default font was set to Arial Black, which I found to be a really good font for this, but you could just go ahead and try different fonts if you like. But if you don't want to search around, Arial Black is a really nice font. So I'm gonna press OK. With the move tool selected, I'm just gonna move it somewhere in the center here. And I could always change this text. I could always change the font. So don't worry about having it set right now, but this is the first step to get started. The next step is we wanna bring the image that's gonna go into this text. And I have that image right here in a different Photoshop file. And I just opened this in Photoshop. So I could drag this background layer and I could drop it on top of my new Photoshop file that I created. And it's again the same resolution, so it's gonna be 1920 by 1080. It's gotta fit the frame. If it doesn't, you could press Command or Control T and you could resize it to fit your frame better. I'm just gonna undo that here. I'm gonna press OK. With the two layers on top of each other like this, the image is on top of the text. Control click or right click and create clipping mask. And when you do that, it puts the image into the text. Now you can't really see what's going on here, so I could either resize my image. I'm gonna show you how to do that. That's Command T or Control T on a PC. And I could just grab these handles and resize my image. If I hold Shift, it's gonna resize it and not change the aspect ratio. And if I don't, it's gonna let me freeform. So let me go ahead and press Shift, and then I could just drag it to where I want. Now this text is a little bit too small, so let me go ahead and change the text size. To do that, I'm just gonna double click this T and it's gonna give me options for the text size. I could also press this icon here and that's gonna give me this pop-up over here. That's gonna let me do a lot of different things with the text. Let me go ahead and make it pretty large here, like about 150. I'm gonna press OK. Again, with text, you could free transform it too. So I could do Command T and I could just drag it and make it taller, for example. I don't have to just use these settings here, but this is changing these settings. So let me just go ahead and do that. And I'll put it somewhere right here, press OK. And now with this layer, with the image layer, I'm gonna select this image layer and I'm gonna move it around. And I'm gonna make it a little bigger so it's covering both sides. So I'll just go ahead and bring it here. Again, I'm holding Shift so it doesn't change the aspect ratio, and then I could put it somewhere like this so you could see the dog's eyes. Now to make it more interesting, let me actually just make this a little bit taller so you could see more of the dog. Press OK. To make it more interesting, now we want to add a background. Now there's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could either go to your first layer that you had and you could create a background. Now I had a transparent background, so I could go to the rectangle tool here and I could just drag right there to create a background. And it's creating it based on whatever color this was. So this is why the background looks like this. But I could double click this and choose gradient overlay. And I'm gonna change this to normal blend mode. Now I could change this to be number of different gradients. Let's say this is what I wanted to have it look like. I could just press OK here. I could change it from linear to radial. I kind of like this in linear, but I don't like these colors. Let me choose a different option. Let's go with this one. So you could just play around and see what gradient option you like. So let's say you like this one in radial, and then you could play with the settings from there. I could just scale the radial up and down, something like that. But ultimately, I don't like having a default background like this. I like to use an image as a background. So let me show you how to do that. So I have another image here and I'm gonna go to it. And again, I'm gonna drag that layer. I'm gonna bring it, my puppy Photoshop file. I'm gonna drop it and it's gonna put it right on top. I'm gonna just drag it and put it underneath the text here so I could see everything. And now I wanna just make sure this is a little bit out of focus so it's not taking so much attention from the text. So to do that, I'm gonna go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and maybe around 5, not too much, and press OK. So now I want the text to pop. The text and the background are blending too much. So I could do some things with the text layer. I'm just gonna double click that text layer. Again, I'm not double clicking the T because that's gonna let me change the font and things like that. I'm gonna just double click here, and I wanna put drop shadow. That's gonna really make it pop. So in the drop shadow, these are my settings in the drop shadow. Again, you could change the opacity and things like that here for the drop shadow. And I'm on blend mode multiply. This is my favorite way to use drop shadow. And I also like a little bit of stroke, just like 1 or 2 pixels. Let me see what 2 pixels, maybe that's too much. 1 on the outside, that's good at 100%. It's really making it pop now from the background. If I turn these off, you see the difference between using stroke and drop shadow to really make the text stand out from the background. So I'm gonna press OK here. And now you're pretty much close to a final result. Again, if you want to change some things, you could still do it. You could change the text. You could even type in a whole different text. And I'm gonna press OK, and that's gonna still keep its form. And I'm just pressing V here to move it around. You could just make sure it's the best fit for your image. Press Command T to again transform this text to be whatever you want. I'll make it bigger. There we go, that actually looks nicer than what I had before. Press OK. And that's how you put an image inside of a text in Photoshop. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for a lot more tutorial on Photoshop and a lot more. Thanks for watching.